Hey guys, Austin here again, doing another attempted playthrough on the NES. Basically, a series where I'm trying to just fire up games that I'm familiar with, but maybe potentially rusty at, and just trying to see what I can do with them. This one's going to be Contra. Apparently, my camera is reversed, so it's backwards here. But yeah, this is my actual cartridge from my wall of NES games back there, and we are going to try to go through this game and see how we do. Kind of like Ninja Gaiden, which was the last one that we did. I probably played through this in the last couple of months at a bare minimum, and so I don't foresee us having too many issues here. But yeah, we'll just kind of like go through the game. I'll talk about it and just talk about other stuff as we play, and hopefully, don't get wrecked too hard. I don't think we will because, like I said, I think I'm still pretty comfortable with this game. But all right, capture cards reset. Otherwise, sometimes I get some audio glitches. Let's go ahead and start that. But yeah, Contra is actually, man, it's not loading for one. I don't know why. Let's try that again. Let's use two hands, not just one. So I am using the Retro USB AVS console, which is a 2016 FPGA device that replicates the NES hardware. It does take real NES carts and real Famicom carts. It's still a great way to play NES games on a modern display, and it's great for streaming and recording kind of like this. But yeah, let's go ahead and just hit that start button and jump right in. So yeah, this is episode 3 of a series where I'm just trying to revisit NES games and just kind of see how I do at them. If you like this sort of thing, this sort of gameplay style, consider subscribing if you're new here. I would really appreciate it. I'd like to hit at least 1,000 subs on this channel, and kind of build a little bit of a tiny side following for my main channel, which is called Gameplay and Talk, where I do similar stuff, but it's much more focused on like good gameplay and tips and tricks on how to get through games. That's kind of like how I focus that channel. But anyway, Contra is kind of an interesting one to play and talk about from just a generalized standpoint. This was actually one of the earlier NES games I got as a kid. I think in the first year or two I had my NES, my parents actually bought this game for my birthday, and that was actually a really special birthday for me because at the time the NES was actually... Why did I do that? The NES was actually in Mom and Dad's room, and I remember just sitting there playing the NES. It was my birthday, I guess. Actually, you know what? I don't even think it was my birthday yet. I think it was like some kind of weekend or something, or maybe we had spring break or something. I don't remember exactly. I don't even think it was my birthday. I think Mom went into her closet and just pulled out this game and just gave it to me. Oh, I screwed up again. And she was just like, here, yeah, you can have this one early or something like that. And yeah, I don't even think it was on my actual birthday. But yeah, I had this game growing up. It was one of my favorites growing up. I eventually got to a point where I could beat this game without dying. And when you're only like 8 or 9 years old, that's a pretty good accomplishment. Yeah, just a lot of really good memories with this one. One of the other great things about this game growing up was the fact that it was multiplayer. It was one of the few 2 players at the same time cooperative games, and cooperative action games, I should say. And it was just a staple on my block growing up. Those orange guys that come out, or the red guys, sorry, that come out, they actually drop power-ups. So I actually died. When you die in this, you downgrade your weapons, so you go back to your stock rifle, which involves you having to button mash a lot. It's not the worst thing ever. It actually is still powerful. It kills enemies relatively quickly, as long as you can button mash okay. So yeah, I have to focus on button mashing well. And I'm actually really surprised I died multiple times on the very first level, because normally I just breeze right through this game. But it has been a long day. I'm recording multiple videos back to back, and I worked all day, and I'm tired, and it's blah 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 blah, and I'm old, and But yeah, this was one of those games where, like, you could play with a friend, and it was awesome. Like I said, not many other games at the time allowed you to do that. One of the other awesome things about this game was how it changes just style. So you go to these boss rooms and you're just stuck on a single screen, which gives it a totally different vibe from, like, the main scrolling levels. And then you've got the behind the back sections that we just finished. Also really good stuff. So this is actually based on the arcade game, by the way, of the same name. And the arcade version has all this stuff. It has the same boss arenas. It has the same, third person moving forward, like 3D sections. Really cool stuff. But, like, there wasn't really anything else on NES that, like, combined all that together. So even though this was an arcade port, it still felt, like, super unique for an NES game. And this is also one of those games where you could argue that the console version is actually better than the arcade game that it's based on. For one, the levels in this version have been fleshed out a little bit. They're a little bit longer than the arcade counterparts, which is nice. Gives you a little bit of extra gameplay to soak up. But also, the game is a lot tighter. The arcade version of Contra is one of those Konami arcade games that feels I don't know how to describe how it feels. It feels slow and sluggish compared to this. This is, like, quick and snappy. The way you jump, the way you fire, is all just very snappy in this version. And in the arcade game, it's like, it's got this, like, faux analog style aiming. And, so, like, in this, I can just aim up and, in a diagonal in any direction. And I'm just doing that immediately. I have, like, very, very precise control. Arcade version takes a lot of getting used to and a lot of practice in order to get good with its controls. But this is just insanely tight, and it just feels good even to this day. So one thing I actually wanted to mention is one thing before doing this videos, I did think to myself about specific things I kind of wanted to touch on briefly, at least. And one of them was some of the weapons in this game. A lot of people look at the F weapon, which is fire, as just, like, the worst thing ever. And in reality, it's actually a pretty solid weapon. You'll notice it just kind of, like, curves around in a circular fashion. One thing that's actually nice about that is that you don't have to be all that accurate, because it just keeps looping back around. You're very likely to hit something. Whereas if you're just using your rifle, it's gonna... Ooh, I pressed jump and, like, it didn't actually jump. That was scary. I'm surprised I survived. So, like, right here, I can actually sit on this side right here, not get too close to that guy's, mouth opening, and just use the fire attack. But growing up, everyone was like, oh, I don't want fire. It's horrible and this and that. And as an adult, I've gone back and intentionally played through the game with just this weapon, and it's like... It's actually a pretty useful weapon. Yes, spread shot is the best weapon, hands down, bar none. But fire ain't too shabby either, if you don't mind button mashing and stuff like that, and using a little more skill. So this level is basically, the same type of thing as the previous third-person level, and but there are a couple of new additions here. You have more of these cores that you have to destroy. And then some of them are actually protected with a sort of hard barrier. It actually makes a different sound when you hit the barrier. Kind of a nice little attention to detail. So Contra is actually one of the best, like, button mashing games on the NES. It just... everything is just so, like, responsive and precise in this game that it just, like, button mashing just feels really good. And you can have a lot of projectiles on the screen at once as well. There are some games where it's like, you can only shoot 2 or 3 projectiles, and then once those projectiles are on the screen, you can't shoot again until those projectiles have actually gone off the screen. And that was really close. I almost died there. Let's see what this guy is going to give me. R. So that is, I don't remember what it actually stands for. I don't know if it's like rapid, or rate, like fire rate, R for rate, I don't know. I don't have the manual to this game, so I actually don't know what the power-ups are officially called. I always called it rapid growing up. Maybe it is actually rapid. I have no idea. But that actually speeds up how fast your projectiles traverse across the screen. So fire is even more useful now because it doesn't take very long to get across the screen. So in these rooms with these turrets as well, you don't have to actually destroy the turrets. They're just kind of there as an extra obstacle, but also as a way to get points. Now your score is not displayed on the screen at all times. It's only displayed in between levels or at a game over. And I actually don't think I should have done that. So the cores that you can destroy here that aren't turrets, oh, it's going to be more difficult now. They actually release the boss itself. And I'm waiting for that turret in the middle to open up. I guess it's not going to open up. Oh, no, it's still opening. Okay. Okay. This is interesting. Wow. What a twist. Quoting some old robot chicken. Alright. Trying to be safe here. This is not what I was expecting. Oh, man. Okay. So when the boss is split apart like that, you actually cannot damage it. But its head is blinking right now, which means it's already, you know, probably past the halfway point on the amount of damage that it can take before dying. Really like some of the visual effects there as well. I love the pseudo 3D, you know, like kind of almost isometric in some ways. Well, that's not really isometric, but just like the 3D depth perception on the top set of tiles. Very cool. But yeah, by me dying, I ended up getting stuck with my rifle again. And that's actually probably one of the more difficult parts of the game, to be stuck with just the rifle, because the little bubbles that come out that can kill you are pretty tough to hit with just a weapon like the rifle, or even just like your machine gun right here. They would still be tough to hit. Machine gun is nice, though. If you get to play with a weapon that's just like, you know, just a straight shooter, it's, you just have to hold down the button. Now, I actually intentionally taper the shots a little bit, because you'll notice that if you just hold down the button, there are gaps between the shots. Although with the R, it's not as many gaps, which is nice. But I'm going to switch back over to fire. Oh, actually, you know what? I probably should not have done that, because there are these, like, big tank sort of objects that you have to contend with. One of them is right here, and if you have a weapon like fire, you have to button mash until your arm basically falls off. So, and fire is really not good for this, so I don't even think I'm going to get this. Oh, nope. Wow. Alright, so back to no lives left again. This is going completely differently than I thought it would. Okay, I have a better chance of button mashing here because, like, my rifle should go across the screen a little more consistently. There we go. Mashing really quickly. Button mashing on NES is definitely a skill. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not the most pleasant skill. I actually do really like button mashing, but man, my hand, that hurts. That hurts a lot. Whew. One of the things about this game too is you get extra lives like crazy. So even though, like, I've died a bunch of times, I mean a bunch of times, oh, that's game over. I'm gonna have to, I think it's gonna start us at the beginning of the level again. We're gonna have to do that button mashing again unless I pick up the spread shot. I can't believe I got a game over in this game. The dying a couple times on the first level alone was probably just a dead giveaway. This wasn't going to go well. All right, so back to machine gun. Let's pick that up again. Oh man, it's really interesting playing this version. I grew up with this version, but there is the Japanese version of the game that has a lot of extra like visual effects and stuff like that. I think there's, I don't remember if there's actual snow on this level, but I know the trees, like they wave in the background, you know, as wind blows against them, things like that. It's kind of neat. I actually don't prefer that version, believe it or not. I know I have had a lot of people talk to me about it over the years, and for me, it's like, all right, there's spread shot. It's the Japanese version tries to do these like story sequences and stuff in between levels, and it's like it just slows everything down. They're not that interesting. So I actually prefer the brevity of the you know, the American version. But there are some really cool, like, graphical effects in the Japanese one that we don't have in this version. Like the palm trees, well, they're not really palm trees. The jungle trees on the first level, like, they wave in the background as the breeze blows through them and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of nice extra attention to detail that's just not in this version. It's still a fantastic game here, though. It's just like, you know, there are games where, you know, people will be like, oh, the Japanese version's a lot better, but kind of like the lack of all the story fat in this version makes it a tighter experience start to finish. So it's like, well, you don't get a lot of really cool graphical effects. It's like you get a faster, more brisk, you know, gameplay experience. So all right, yeah, spread shot is just super overpowered in this game. And so the boss that's actually in the very beginning of this level in the arcade game is the actual end boss in this version. Now, this level and the next level from the arcade game, they're actually like one and the same level in the arcade version, but in this one they were actually divided up into two completely separate levels. So you get, you know, bigger stages, and what would otherwise maybe be a mini boss in one version, like the arcade game, is now like a full-on boss in the NES game, which is pretty sweet. So again, it's one of those things where, like, you know, I think most people actually look at the NES version of this as like definitely the better version of Contra. I still love the arcade game. You know, I have couple Let's Plays on that on my main Gameplay and Talk YouTube channel. So this is actually really dangerous right there. You have to time that just perfectly, and I mistimed it the first time, so... But this is actually, it gives us an opportunity to grab the laser. You know, one of the things about doing this sort of playthrough is to try to experiment with different things as well. Variety is the spice of life, or something like that. But it's also interesting, like, just being able to show off different, you know, gameplay styles based on the weapon that you have. So I got, I don't know if it's called Barrier or something like that, but I got this power-up which makes me invincible, and I can actually just, like, run straight through enemies. Now, it's going to wear off in just a moment. Yeah, it just wore off. You have to be careful about when it wears off, because if you're on top of an enemy when it does, you will die. A little color change on the palette, which is always kind of cool. Always like it when these NES games do that. It's a good way of getting around the NES's like low color palette. When games do that, it's just like, it's a great way of maximizing, you know, your assets. It's like the whole level was green, but then it turns purple at the end, and the boss is also kind of purple too. So like it kind of works. It's really cool stuff. So, we are nearing the end of the game. So this actually reminds me of Double Dragon 2. I know that sounds random, but Double Dragon 2 actually uses these sort of like claw things that go from ceiling to floor. And we would always call them Contra things as a kid, or as kids. I had Double Dragon 2 growing up. It was another birthday game. Man, what else did I get with Double Dragon 2? I think I got 2 games. I didn't get Super Mario Bros. 3 with that, did I? I may have. I don't remember. Maybe I've gotten Mario 3 and Double Dragon 2 for that birthday. I don't remember. It's been so long. But yeah, Contra had an influence on us for sure, and we called them Contra things. So this is actually really bad. I'm gonna die here. Oh god. Okay, so normally I would take the top path, but I destroyed the little, like, the mine cart, which you have to use as a platform in order to get up top, and so I completely messed that up. But that's okay. Actually, doing all this stuff completely differently and dying a bunch probably is more interesting for you guys, rather than me, like, demolishing the game like I might normally do. But yeah, I've got on that little tangent about Double Dragon 2 because these things are in that game as well, but because, like, a lot of us as kids witnessed them first in Contra, we just called them Contra things. Alright. Now, one of the things about this game, too, is that you don't have to just constantly mash the attack button. A lot of people think that because, you know, you shoot and you can shoot rapidly, that you should always be mashing, and that's not how you should play games like this. You should, like, taper your shots. For one, it actually saves the muscles. So, like, as I push the screen over, I shoot a little bit. I shoot when I need to. I don't just mash because I can. Now, when you've got the machine gun, that's a different story. You can just kind of hold down the button. But again, you run the risk of having that gap between bullets. And so even the machine gun, I'll taper just a little bit to have a more steady stream of firepower. So, like, I'll hold it, then let go. Hold it, then let go. And my shield went away. And, yeah, this is the final level. So we're at basically the end of the game. And for this part, you want to just kind of take it nice and easy. Contra 1 is still a really cool looking game. It doesn't look nearly as good as Super C. Super C is, like, just an amazing looking game. But Super C is basically Super Contra from the arcade. Ported to NES, much like the original Contra was ported here with this version. It still looks really cool. You know, you can tell they were influenced by H.R. Giger and, you know, Alien in particular, especially right here, where you basically have things that kind of look like face huggers, the way they claw their way across the ground. So this is our final boss. It's mostly just, you're just trying to avoid the facehugger looking things. Now you can try to destroy the turrets or the eggs that they're hatching from, or you can just go all in, button mash real fast with something like the spread shot, and just get rid of this heart, and then that's it. We just beat the game. Took us a little, you know, probably around 20 minutes, and that's with a game over and a continue on the snow level. So, like, Contra is one of those games that is very brisk when you know what you're doing. It is, you know, you could beat the game in a very short amount of time, sub 20 minutes. And that's not even speedrunning the game. That's just, like, kind of going through it normally. And as long as you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. It's always a good time, though. This game is just, like, it's one of the best NES games. Like, it's so much fun. So, yeah, whenever I would do variety streams of NES, either on Twitch or doing variety streams on YouTube, like my Gameplay and Talk channel in particular, like, this is a game that I'll just fire up during those streams because it feels great to go through. It feels very satisfying to play at, like, a higher skill level in particular because, like, you start timing your shots, and you get into this, like, really good rhythm with things, and yeah, it's just an experience that is not really replicated in the same way, like, anywhere else outside of the second game on NES. They both just have a very nice, distinct feel and feel uniquely NES, if that makes any sense. There have been some indie games that have tried to replicate this. One of them is what's it called? It's called Super Cyborg. I've always wanted to go back and try to actually learn that. I think I have that on Xbox One, Xbox Series, but also I have it on PC. It's on Steam, and I think might be on some other platforms as well, like PS4, PS5. But outside of that, a game intentionally trying to replicate this style and feel in terms of gameplay, there's not really much else like it. It's just really great stuff. Contra is just so good. So, yeah, guys, that's going to do it for me. That's basically it. We are on the second loop now. Things are technically more difficult. There's going to be more enemies. They shoot more bullets, things like that. Some enemy hit points are now increased, like that big alien head on the start of the very final level. That takes more hits now. And if you keep looping the game, like, it keeps going up and up and up and up, the health bar, I mean. And, yeah, there are parts where, like, that alien head is insanely difficult to take down. There is a way to actually max out the score in this game, which involves you having to do many, 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 many loops. And, like, it just gets to a point where it's super difficult to just get through the whole thing. Because so many more, like the alien head, it's shooting out so many like enemies at you, but it also takes so many hits, and if you don't have your spread shot by that point, it's insanely difficult to get through consistently. But anyway, I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, I guess. Hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. Definitely hit some snags there I wasn't expecting. Like, for one, I wasn't expecting to slip off some platforms on this very first level and die. And then die again at the boss fight, I think. And then I lost a lot of lives in places I would not normally lose lives, even if I was unpracticed like I am right now. But yeah, that was interesting. And then actually getting a game over on the snow level 5. Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It's not me just like annihilating the game with one life and whatever. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. So again, like I mentioned earlier, if you like this sort of thing, consider subscribing. I've got videos like this, many more to come. I have also my side channel, Gameplay and Talk, and links in the description box below. I am super tired right now. I'm actually like, I can't come up with words. So anyway, all the social media stuff, along with my other YouTube channel with more gameplay like this, is down there, so go check it out. For everyone already subbed that continues to follow and support, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys soon. So yeah, I'm gonna go hit the stop recording button or something over here. It's weird getting into a rhythm of like things to say on each video, because when I started this series 2 videos ago, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and now I'm already hearing myself getting into like patterns, and like I don't want to get into patterns, but it's like I think you just kind of naturally do that when you have a series of videos like this. So anyway, bye.